Now, since the move from Upton Park, the atmosphere at the London Stadium has been a big factor in fans' morale and overall drive to go to West Ham. And it's been acknowledged for some time now that the atmosphere is not what we want it to be. So therefore, somebody has got to come and has got to try and change that. And we haven't really seen that in the past. I think it's really been done. People just shrugged their shoulders and went, oh, well, it's just what it is. What can we do? Now, tonight, I'm delighted to say, some of you may have seen it on social media, but there has been a group set up called the Ironworks Alliance, and they're going to tell you what their mission and what they're doing is. Will is joining me. Will, how are you? Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Hi, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Now, this is a good week to do this. We've got Chelsea at the weekend, which is a game where most of us would like to think the atmosphere will be a bit better at home. But let's start, from sort of beginning in terms of the group of what's up. So the Ironworks Alliance, how did the idea come about? What was the sort of vision of it?
Yeah, so I think in your intro, you kind of hit the nail on the head, really, where people generally think the atmosphere can be quite poor a lot of the time. So it was around about summer 2022. I think someone on Twitter basically raised the suggestion that we get a group of people together to try and think of ways to sort it and to try and ask the club to do things to improve it. So we sort of, a group of us banded together, and we tried to get in touch with the club. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out around that time. We were kind of not ignored, but we were kind of, told, oh, you need to go through the supporters groups. You need to get their approval first, right? And then we had some back and forth, and then we kind of paused for a while. And then about a year ago, we decided to try again, and then we got a bunch of lads in, and we got a core group now, and some of them have had some really good skills to provide us, like graphic content, social media stuff, and all of that. And then basically from there, we formed a document, like a solid plan, to come up with an idea and to present it to the supporters groups, and then eventually to the club. So we spoke to the West Ham United Supporters Trust. We spoke to Hammers United. They unanimously were in agreement with us and thought that, they really wanted us to succeed, really. So we got their blessing. We were given a contact at the club, who is basically a new person in the club, and they've got form in the past where they've been before for getting involved with atmosphere groups and trying to get them to do things like giant flags and everything like that. So we got in touch, and since then discussions with the club have been really positive. And they read our document. They said, we're really keen to see what you want to offer, basically. And then since then we've been speaking with them, and now we're at the point where we've actually got the crowd display done and ready. But I think we're going to come on to that later, so I'll leave that there. But that's basically where we are now.
Yeah, that's really good. So what overall is the main purpose of the group in terms of what's the sort of end goal? What would be the time where you as a group can say our job is done?
When everyone's happy with the atmosphere, to be honest, I reckon. I think we've got quite a way to go, but we as a group, we can see it. We can see the potential in that stadium, right? I don't know if you went to the Seville game.
I wasn't
there. That was probably the best atmosphere I've ever been at in my entire life.
Yeah.
As a West Ham, and I went to Upton Park since I was 6, right? And obviously the atmosphere is consistently good there. It's consistently not very good at the London Stadium, and I think that's the problem. It's a stadium of two extremes. It's really dire a lot of the time, but when the fans are up for it, it's absolutely electric. And what we want to do is try and foster that and get it more consistent. And we think the passion in the fan base is there to make that happen. It just needs a bit more organisation and a bit of thought behind it to get to that stage. So ultimately, when we get to that end stage and everyone's happy, I think we'll be there. And we've got initiatives for that, which I think we'll come on to as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the key word there's consistency, and I think that's really key
Yeah,
because a lot of people last season blamed it on the style of football. They said we're not getting out because of the style of football. Well, that doesn't really add up because it's been for quite a while.
yeah.
Well, so I mean,
I mean,
go on.
yeah, I was just going to add to that. I think
Yeah,
it's a number of factors
yeah,
that contribute to an atmosphere, particularly in the UK. It's different in Europe because they have a different culture where
yeah,
they actually deliberately go out to create an atmosphere, whereas we in this country are a bit more passive. So we expect good football and excitement to create atmosphere, but you are starting to see a culture shift in that slightly now. There is that is starting to happen. So we want to be part of that going forward.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And you mentioned because I think the frustrating thing for most of the fans is that everybody wants to have the atmosphere improve, but you
Mm.
know, individual people can't make the difference, and this is where things have got to be put together to try and make it better. I mean, it's the inconsistency because some of the European games, as you rightly said, were absolutely brilliant. And then the one game that sticks out for me particularly bad was last year against Sheffield United at home. We beat them 2-0. It was one of the worst games of football I've ever watched. And you
Yeah.
can literally hear a pin drop in there, and you just see a lot of people. We're winning, but nobody's really happy. It's just like, oh, it's just,
Yeah.
and that's what we want and need to move away from, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, it is difficult to pinpoint why that's the case sometimes, but I think it's, a lot of the time it might be to do with the time of the game as well. I think Sunday games are probably not as good, but I think it does take some effort from the fans as well. I'm not going to criticize the fan base because I am in the fan base, but I think it just needs a little bit of thought behind it, and that's what we're here to do. We all want a good match day experience, and we know that the stadium itself is a bit of a handicap. It doesn't work quite as well in that stadium as it does in, say, at St James's Park, for example, where it's like a cathedral. So we have to try and find ways to make that work, and that's what we're here to do because we ultimately think it can.
Absolutely, no, that's brilliant. And people say in the chat at the moment, it's pockets of fans trying things, and I noticed that at some points last season, which was a better improvement, is that in certain pockets you've got a little bit and Bobby more lower, and then up the other end towards the away fans is a little bit as well. There's pockets, but
Yeah.
it's bringing that together, which we're going to talk about
Yeah.
in just a second. Michael says the acoustics of the stadium don't really help. I hope you well, and that's the part of it. And Sharky says, do you think bringing safe standing into football once again would help the atmosphere? So let's talk about some of the initiatives that you want to try and implement to improve it. So what are the things that you want to do and you urging the club to do to try and make the atmosphere better?
Yeah, so ultimately the end goal is to end up with a large sort of atmosphere section in the Bobby Moore Lower. The entirety of the Bobby Moore Lower would work. I mean, you get the away fans, right? They're all together, they're all bunched together, and you can hear them. You can hear them all game, right? So, the stadium isn't great for it, but it can work. And if you basically had a large away section in the West End crowd, it would work. Like, so, we get complaints. We see people complaining on Twitter all the time saying, you know what, I want to make some noise, I want to chant, but where I'm sitting and the people I'm sitting around, it makes it hard because it's kind of like you get a bit embarrassed,
Yeah.
So you bring all those people together that actually want to, chant, create, because that's football at the end of the day. That that's part of football. That's what we want. That's what we want. We want a bit of emotion, a bit of noise. You bring them all together and you watch it fly. And to be honest, I know that this works in this country, right? Because it happens at other grounds. So I'll give you a good example, right? Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah.
So their atmosphere is absolutely shit hot, right? Every single game they are on it, right? And that is because they have got an atmosphere group called Forza Garibaldi, right? So as well as that, they have tifos and all that, all right, which is what we want to do as well. But as well as that, they're associated with a section in their stadium I think they're near the away fans, and they've built a culture of just getting behind the team no matter what, and just they start singing, the whole ground just catches on, and it's gone from there. It works, right? And you see this over Europe as well. I know that the culture is a bit different in Europe, but it's the same principle over here. Even Arsenal, I know Ashburton Army, they're ultras. We don't want to be like ultras. We don't want to bang a drum. We don't want to dress in black. So that's not what we're about. But ultimately, the principle is the same. Even though they are like ultras, it actually works for them. Their atmosphere has got actually pretty good in the last couple of years. Whereas for the last 40 years, they've been known as one of like the worst fan bases in existence. So, you know, it works, and that's what we want to do.
No, absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned Forest because we were up there for, you know, their first game back in the Premier League when we were up there on the, I think it was second opening day of the season a couple of years back, and that's the loudest atmosphere I've ever experienced. It was coming from all corners, and there's the upper tier when you look right out of the away end, up in that corner where they were all going for it. And I know that was their first game back in the Premier League for 20 odd years, but that continues on, and they've they've sort of generated that atmosphere, and then sort of the people, you know, say they want to, but they're in a different part of the ground, and the club haven't made it easy in terms of being able to relocate when you got your season ticket. It seems like it's a bit of a faff to say, I want to move from, I don't know, Billy Bonds to Bobby Moore Lower because I want to be part of this atmosphere. So there's difficulties that need to be faced in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a difficult situation because how do you displace people as well? How do you make everyone happy? I think ultimately you can't make everyone happy, but it's about making the majority happy, right? We have spoken to the club this season about trialing an atmosphere section for one of the cup games, maybe.
Oh, right,
It's loosely in the pipeline. We need to speak to them a bit more about it, but it is possible, and the fact that they're open to it is quite positive. So, you know, it could happen. And I don't know if we mentioned safe standing yet, but you said someone asked a question about it. So yes, I think if you introduce safe standing, that would be a perfect complement to that, because you can ultimately reset that area, and everyone that wants to, you know, stand and create noise is naturally going to go there. And if you had some sort of coordination with the club, which is what we would hope to have one day, you know, it could work. But for now, we've just had to stick to, you know, encouraging people that want to create more noise to come into to blocks 145, 146, and 142 and the Bobby Moore Lower corner for now. We chose that area because ultimately we don't think the club would allow us to have it by the away fans, because it could lead to trouble, right? And secondly, that's quite a normal thing to have in grounds where they have atmosphere sections. You normally have on the opposite end, it'll be a big section over Europe. You know, you've got Dortmund Wall on the other side, even the Cop at Anfield, to be honest. You know, that's where we want it to be ultimately.
Yeah, and I think that Bobby Moore Lower sort of situation works well. We're directly beyond the goal 148, I think it is, and Bobby Moore Lower. And if we can get that sort of going along there, and you know, you've got that bit to try and urge people to get there. And I think it's the sort of cup game initiative, because people can go where they like pretty much to an extent. Then in that sense, can try and help and build that. And hopefully, if the club can help some things as well to get that more established, that's going to massively help. So like safe standing and having a dedicated atmosphere area, some good initiatives. Is there sort of anything else, or is that your focus right now?
Well, there's the crowd displays as well, which I think we were going to come on to as well. So it's probably a good time to bring that up. So yeah, one of the things we've been wanting. So basically, you know, you look at crowd displays in Europe, and even it's catching on this country as well. A lot of clubs do it now. I'd say half the Premier League clubs have like atmosphere groups that actually do pre-match, like, you know, displays when the players come out. It's becoming a normal thing in this country. And you know what? We have, as a club, right, so much history and identity. We are, you know, West Ham is an institutional football club, right? There is so much we can do with TIFOs. And I'm actually amazed that we've not even got to this point before, right? Because we've got so many legends. We've got East London, you know, it's a hotbed of UK culture. There is so much we can do with these TIFOs to show the footballing world what we are about as a fan base, right? And it's even made even better when the fans do it themselves. It's like you are actually speaking to the football world as a fan when you create that display and you show it to the world. And I think we want a bit of that, to be honest. And I think it would massively improve the sort of feeling around the fan base if people start picking up on it, and we gain more support for this. So we've got one planned for the Man United game. Although I do want to state now, I think we might probably put that back to the Arsenal game because it's simply a better occasion. Saturday evening, 5:30 kickoff against Arsenal. I reckon the crowd are going to be up for that, and I reckon having a tifo for that would be pucker. It'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. So we're thinking of doing that.
So
we got a target of £3,000, which, by the way, it does sound a lot, but it's actually a lot more expensive than we thought it would be. Once you go to the suppliers and you've got delivery, you've got storage, you've got everything. Anyway, that's the target. We are over halfway on that already. I would plead with fans, if they want to get involved, just even a fiver, right? You have what is it? 600 fans give a fiver. That's it. It's done. 600 fans out of 50,000, out of 60,000. That's all. That's all it needs. And if you want to look at where we want to go, I'd advise you to check out Newcastle's War Flags. I don't know if you heard of them before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I have. Yeah.
So they're
amazing.
They're incredible, right? When you saw some of them Champions League games last year, and they had stadium-wide tifos, right? That's all completely fan-funded, fan-designed, and them lot up there have got right on board with it, and it has been absolutely incredible for them. So why can't we do that? Why can't we get there? And if the fans get behind us, we've got ideas, we've got plans to make it big if we get the support.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. And, we saw glimpses of it in a couple of the European games. The club implemented some displays in that sense. So if you do want to support the campaign, so here's the Just Giving page. The link is in the description down below if you want to go and have a little look and to embrace the future. I think that's a key, a key and pertinent, important line. We are where we are, and it's not going to change. So let's try and make the best out of what it is. So this link is in the.
I just want to throw up now. At the moment, it's going to be suspended for a couple of days because they're just doing a routine check on it. So,
right, okay.
Apologies about that, but
that's all right.
Maybe go back to it in a few days if you want to donate. Yeah.
Cool. And I actually think it's that one. There we go. So that is the design, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what. So for one of the games, maybe now the Arsenal game, which would be a pretty good spectacle to have for that game. That does sound good. Up past 5. Everyone's been out on a Saturday. Sounds good to me. So that is the design. So if you do in a couple of days want to go back, save the Just Giving page on your phone, and if you do want to support, you can go back there. And support, massively help the guys out and make them go that step further. As you said, a fiver from 600 people gets them what they need to get this made and happened. And I can imagine the logistical cost and everything that it takes to make it. So from me, I'd like to say thank you for everything that you guys do for trying to make it better, because we understand and we all want to make it better. But as I said at the start, it's heads getting together and actually doing something about it, isn't it?
Yes, mate. That's exactly it.
So yeah, let's hope. Let's hope this is a drive for change in that sense. Take some comments. We're a massive club. They need to let us act like it. Let's hope so. Absolutely.
Maybe we'll do a massive tifo one day. Massive or something. I don't know.
That would be good. So yeah, overall, just sort of reinforce the point to the viewers of what you do and how you're going about it and the sort of future for the Ironworks Alliance. Oh, 2 seconds, hang on. Sorry about that. Any sort of final thoughts, Will, about what you guys do? Any sort of final thoughts you want to say to people watching?
I know that there might be a few people that are a bit skeptical. I would just say, just give us a chance. We're trying something, we're trying to make things happen. And we're really confident that if we're given the right tools, that we can make it better.
Yeah, I hope so.
Get behind us.
Yeah, I've seen some skeptical things on Twitter, which it's Twitter, so that doesn't surprise me too much. But to be honest, the atmosphere can't get much worse, so I don't see why people are trying to criticize what you guys do. In that sense, you're trying to do something good and change something for the better. So I do hope you succeed, and I hope that fans can enjoy and look forward at the weekend to go into the London Stadium. You know, I'm looking forward to going on Saturday because it's Chelsea, and because that's always, you know, that sort of game is a bigger game, but not because I think the atmosphere is going to be electric, just because it is the game that it is, and that's what we want fans to, you know, to reach that point of let's go and we're going to, you know, make a good atmosphere with the 60,000 people that we've got inside that stadium. So so that, yeah, Will, good luck to you and everybody. You know, I've inferred there's quite a group of you lads that are doing that, so fair play to you in that sense, and thank you very much indeed for joining me tonight.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Appreciate it so much. Thanks.
Thank you. You can check out Ironworks Alliance on Twitter for more information. And as I said, the Just Giving page is linked in the description down below if you want to financially support what those guys are doing. That's it from me and Will. Come on, you Irons. And we will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much and goodbye.